Good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Bible class with Andre and Betty. We're continuing our studies from the book of 2 Kings, and we're in chapter 17 today. We will be looking at the subject, Israel is captured by the Assyrians. And these are enemies of the nation Israel, but in instances, Assyria and the capital city of Assyria is Nineveh. But the people of Nineveh repented under the ministry of Jonah in the book of Jonah. So these are the Assyrian people. And Israel will have two captivities. The northern kingdom is who we're talking about today. They're going to go into Assyrian captivity. And maybe 100 years after that, then Judah will go into Babylonian captivity, or the southern kingdom. And so we're reading from 2 Kings chapter 17, beginning at verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. Now, Ahaz reigned 16 years over Judah, and Hoshea begins to reign in Israel, the northern kingdom, in the 12th year of King Ahaz. Verse 2. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. He was not as bad as the others, but he still did evil in the sight of the Lord. Verse 3. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents, gave the Assyrian king presents. Verse 4. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. That is, bound Hoshea in prison. Verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and attacked or besieged it 3 years. Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala and in Harbor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes, taking them to Assyrian country. Verse 7. And so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, that is, the 10 tribes, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. They went into idolatry. Verse 8. And walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. They made themselves kings and rejected God. Verse 9. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. Verse 10. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill. Those groves were shrines that they set up in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen, whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they served idols, whereof the Lord had said unto them, You shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Lord their God. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he had made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain or of uselessness, and went after the heathen, followed after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. Verse 16. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshiped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. Verse 17, and they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. When people sell their souls, they get materialism and worship of idols over the living God. Verse 18. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. And a little less than 100 years, Judah too, as I said before, will be under Babylonian captivity. Verse 19. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made, not what God said, but what they said. Verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he tore Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. Verse 22. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And now the king of Assyria is going to bring his people to live in Samaria. Samaria is the capital city on the east side of the Jordan River. Verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutha and from Ava and from Hamath and for Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. He took them to Assyria and brought people back in their place. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. That's all these people we just called. They came and dwelt in the cities. Verse 25. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Verse 26. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he had sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land. Verse 27, then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from there. Get one of the priests and let them go and dwell there, and let him, the priest, teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Howbeit, verse 29, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. Verse 30. And the men of Babylon made Succoth Benoth, and the men of Cutha made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima. All these are idols. And the Avats made Nimhaz and Tartak, and the Sepharvites burnt their children in fire to Adremelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. Idol worship. So this is how they feared the Lord, verse 32, and made unto themselves the lowest of them to be priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. And this is going to explain how they feared. They feared the Lord and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They really fear not the Lord, neither do they after God's statutes or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. So they try to serve God and Mammon too. But God is explaining, they're saying they fear the Lord, but they're actually serving their idols. Verse 35. with whom the Lord had made a covenant, that is the name, Jacob's descendants named Israel, with whom the Lord had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, "Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them." Verse 36, "But the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall ye do sacrifice." Verse 37, "And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandment which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods." This is going back and reminding them what God had said. Verse 38. And God says, "And the covenant that I made with you, ye shall not forget, neither shall you fear other gods. But the Lord your God ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies." Now God gives his will to us. Then he gives us time to obey or reject him, and then at a certain point, he judges. So he's just reminding them and indicting them on what they had not done, and always saying they were God's people, and proving they were discredited to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And verse 40, "Howbeit they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared the Lord and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children. As did their fathers, so do they unto this day." And this is how people get caught up in religion and say they're believers and do the very opposite of what a believer following the leadership of the Holy Spirit would do. So we have to be careful and every day surrender and yield ourselves as a living sacrifice to God, holy and acceptable. And then we can prove what is that good and acceptable things that the Lord is pleased with. So this is why Jesus had to come into the world, because men left to themselves will do that which is right in their own eyes, ignoring the will of God. So you all have a great day and a great week.